Well, well, well. It was only a matter of time, wasn't it? Well, go on then. Don't be nervous. No need to play coy. Yes, the rumours are true. I am indeed the horn blower. I did, in fact, blow the legendary horn of Valir at Fall, turning the tide of the battle. Oh, you want to thank me? Well, that's very kind. It's completely unnecessary of you. Oh, but you insist. A gesture of gratitude, if I must. Well, it's true that my station in life has changed, but at the end of the day, I'm a simple man of simple pleasures. A comfy bed, plenty of ale, cheeky game of dice, and the odds are in my favour.
As you can see, Amazon just gave us a teaser for Mat Cauthon from Wheel of Time Season 3, and also as you can see, there's a lot to discuss. Wheel of Time Season 3 drops in just about a month, and this past week we got another piece of marketing material, this time in the form of a mock interview with Mat Cauthon himself. Today, obviously, we're going to break it all down, but I think I want to start with the more meta stuff before we get into the clip. Why did they choose Mat? In a gigantic property like the Wheel of Time with a huge ensemble cast, why would they release marketing materials around Donal Finn's portrayal of Mat Cauthon rather than one of the more prominent actors in the show or one of the more prominent characters? Now, for book readers, this might be obvious. Mat has been the most neglected character both in screen time and in development in the first 2 seasons. Some of that is because Barney left, and some of that is because that's actually Mat's character. Mat did get more of a focus towards the end of last season, but Mat really has not been a focal point of the story up to this point. And because of this, book readers would be safe to assume that now is the time for Mat to get some love. And largely, I think this is correct. We're also hitting the point of the story, though, as I just mentioned, where Mat actually takes a larger role in the books as well. So it does totally make sense that the story right now would feature more of Mat Cauthon in Season 3, hence more marketing of him. But that brings me back to why did they choose Mat here? And I think this is confirmation that Mat is going to feature more heavily in the story in Season 3, as we said. It's a nod to book fans of a couple fun moments that we've been waiting for that are going to come this season. But more on that in a moment. In terms of the clip itself, Mat tells us that he is the hornblower and that his station in life has changed, but he still enjoys some simple pleasure. Now, I'm not going to break down too much of what he says because I truly think the main point of the dialogue is just to give us a feel for Mat as a character. He found his worth at the end of Season 2, and I think probably also his luck and his fortune are coming this season as well. His clothing has a noticeable upgrade in these shots, and he seems to be very happy to tell us about all of his achievements up to this point. Now, I will say this. I liked Barney Harris as Mat in Season 1, but I never really felt like Barney hit the tonality and cheekiness of Mat. Mat is a notoriously difficult character to write, even according to Brandon Sanderson, so I would assume that he is very difficult to play as well. But that being said, I think for the most part, Donal Finn has been a better version of Mat than Barney. I think that he just fits the character better. While I don't think I'd call it perfection in terms of an adaptation from page to screen, because I do think Mat is really difficult to get right, I think Donal Finn has been fantastic, and I think this teaser makes me think even more than I already did that he's the right person to play Mat. But what about the location for this interview? Where is he here? Well, I wouldn't think too hard about it. This is not a place that we're going to be seeing Mat in the show, I don't believe. This is the set for Cold Rock's Hold or another location in the Aiel Waste. Both the Tanchico scenes and the Aiel Waste scenes were shot in South Africa. Obviously, Mat is going to be in Tanchico. It makes sense that he would be there and that they would use this set to do an interview. Amazon has done this before, having interviews take place in sets that won't be used by those characters. I think last year we had the Maidens in the Hall of the Tower or something. But before we get to the clips, if you like Wheel of Time related content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I cover the Wheel of Time books and the TV show on the channel, and I'll be breaking down and reviewing each of the episodes. But let's get to those glimpses of Mat that we saw in this clip. We're going to start here with this scene of Mat holding the horn while posing for a drawing in an inn in Tar Valon. And there is a lot going on here, so let's take one thing at a time. We'll start with the inn itself. This is just the same inn from the first look pictures that we got showing the 3 boys together. This is also the same inn that I saw in the Tar Valon sets when I toured them in Prague in 2023. As you can see from these images, this is a fully fleshed out location. They built all of this. There's an upstairs to it. It's really, really cool. The other thing that I think is worth pointing out about the inn and the city itself is how busy it is. I love seeing Tar Valon busy and bustling. There are a ton of extras in this shot. I love when a city feels lived in and large. As to Mat, he's obviously holding the Horn of Valyr as an artist draws him blowing it. It seems that Mat has hired this person or seems to want people to know that he blew the horn, even though it appears nobody is paying attention at all. This leads me to believe that it is not obvious to everybody that that is the Horn of Valyr. It actually seems like people are annoyed by Mat and his posing, especially this guy right here. And lastly, you can see Rand right here very early in the clip off to the left. He appears to be laughing and being playful, which is the same vibe that we got from the first look photo. And that leads me to believe that both Mat and Rand believe that maybe the Dark One was killed at the end of season 2, which would explain their laughter and nonchalantness with the horn. It just seems like they're being fairly careless here, which is a little out of character for Rand. Later in the teaser, we're going to see the three boys drinking in the inn together, which is a callback to episode 1 of season 1, where they were all together and happy before the Trollocs showed up and killed everybody. I wonder if something is going to happen in episode 1 of season 3 that forces them apart, sort of like the Trolloc attack did, and makes them realize that, hey, the fight isn't over. And maybe that is the bubble of evil that we saw hinted at in the teaser trailer. We'll talk more about that in a moment. The next scene is of Mat in the Warder training grounds that we saw in season 2, where Nynaeve practiced the sword with Ivan and Maxim. Now, these are the same practice swords that we saw in those scenes, and Mat fumbles around with the swords, he knocks some of them over, and then he ends up picking one up at the end. And you can see these women here behind Mat watching somebody else at the center of the grounds. It's clearly not Mat. And one of them appears to be a novice, and the other one is either an Aes Sedai or somebody else wearing some different clothing. They seem very interested in whoever is at the center of the grounds. And I think it's a safe assumption that Galad and Gawain, or both of them, are practicing the sword shirtless, similar to the clip that we saw earlier in the teaser trailer. Now, this is further reinforced by this Andorran guard here by the entrance, likely guarding the princes. So is this that scene? Yes, I think it is. And no, I do not think that Mat is going to try and use a sword. They have already established that he uses a spear or a quarterstaff. They did that in season 2. I mentioned this the other day on my podcast, Tarvalon After Dark, but I think that this is a scene that they need to nail in the show. Mat's fight with Galad and Gawain is not a big deal in the scope of the story. It's not super plot relevant, but it is an extremely well-loved moment from the books, and it's a big part of Mat's development as a character. If they fail to capture the magic of that moment from the books, I think that's going to be a disappointment, especially early on in the season. So I really hope they nail Mat humbling Gawain and Galad. I think that's a fun scene, and I hope they nail it. The next scene here is of Mat in the White Tower, with a novice holding the Horn of Valyr somewhere in the tower. Now, there's a ton of food on the table, which is something that happened in the book as he rested after being healed of his connection to the Shadar Logoth dagger. Given that Moraine sort of already healed him of his connection to that dagger, I guess the question here is why is Mat in the tower? Now, you would think after his last experience in the tower, where he was held captive, that he would want to avoid being in the tower if at all possible. If you combine this with the fact that he was wandering around earlier near the Warder practice grounds, probably trying to get money like he was in the books, I wonder if he will be confined to the tower again to protect him from harm as he is the Hornblower. We're going to have to wait and see there. The next scene is of the Maidens of the Spear, clearly playing Maiden's Kiss with Mat. Now, this appears to be Bane and Chiad and Loyal in the background, and this is potentially Perrin right here, but I'm not entirely sure of that. Can't really tell, but it does look like him. What I do think is interesting is these red lions here on the windows. They are the exact red lions that are a part of the Banner of Andor. And I've seen some people saying that this is the same inn that they were in the earlier shot in Tarvalon, and I do not think this is the case. First of all, these are very different designs on the windows here rather than the previous end we saw. Second of all, I can speak for a fact that there are not windows like that in that particular building. In fact, there are no buildings that I saw in the entire Tarvalon set that reflect those types of windows. So it's also, though, not the same inn that we saw in season 1. And again, I saw that inn in person, not the windows there, but even from the interior, these are completely different designs on the windows here. So I don't believe this is any inn that we have seen before. And I also think it would be quite odd if the Aiel were inside Tarvalon wearing their Cadansor. I also don't think the inn is in Andor. At least I don't think so. So the real question is, what inn is this? It seems to be the same inn that Rand is in, the shot in the teaser trailer where it looks like the bubble of evil is happening. You can see the windows here have similar patterns. If I had to guess, it's probably an inn in maybe one of the bridge towns. I guess it could be in Tarvalon. What do you think? I'm actually stumped on this one. Let me know what you think in the comments of the video. So that is the Mat teaser. I do expect that we're going to have another trailer to break down this week. We're about a month away from the show's release on March 13th, so it's about that time. Keep your eyes peeled for something big on Wednesday. And if you like this type of content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel to get more Wheel of Time content. I have a huge backlog of videos that you can watch simply by heading to the channel if you want to binge more Wheel of Time stuff before the season comes out. Huge thank you to my patrons for supporting the channel. If you'd like to support what I do here, consider checking out my Patreon page by heading to the link in the description. And if you liked this video, you will very likely like one of these here as well. Thank you for watching, and until next time, peace out.